It's Allan Share. I'm here with Mark Wuttke. We are so excited about doing this series with you, Mark. I have to tell you, even though you and I have been in the spa channel for such a long time, it's always great to talk about the background, about sales, about retail, and the things that actually make it work. So welcome. I'm glad you're here with our members as well today.
Thank you, Allan. Happy to be here.
Okay. We're going to do, I know this for our listeners, this will be, and viewers, 3 or 4 or 5 different parts we're going to do, but I want to start with what is selling, because I know you talk a lot about beliefs and decisions and outcomes. Can you address that and how that works in our channel?
Yeah, absolutely. Quite often, I find that people probably see selling as something very different than what it really is. And it's because of a bad experience that someone had at some time. So when we're looking at people and selling, and if they're not necessarily getting the result they want, they just think they made a bad decision. But I'm actually suggesting you need to go back one step further and have a look at your belief. What made you believe selling isn't a wonderful thing where we're adding value to individuals?
This part of selling still has a lot to do with we're talking about the early parts of selling, but how do relationships factor into what you're describing?
Relationships are absolutely crucial. People only buy from people they know, like, and trust. And quite often, if you're only focused on the transaction, I think you will fail long term. You need to be focusing purely on adding value to your client or your guest. If you're not adding value, what are we doing? So I look at selling very much as it's actually influence. And so selling is influence. It's nothing more and it's nothing less.
Right. And Mark, value is not just a perception, right? This is a place you truly have to deliver on value. You can't just talk about it.
No. And when I say value, it's based upon needs. If we do not know what the needs and expectations are of the guest or the client, what are we doing? That means then we are just peddling stuff. If we don't know, and if it's not needs driven, I think we're doing it for the wrong reasons. And if we're focused on a relationship rather than a transaction, then you're really leaning in, getting close and making sure it is adding value because you don't want to destroy that relationship. It can take years to build a relationship, but it can be destroyed in seconds.
We know that from personal experience, don't we? People get caught up, when we talk about our spa channel, spa, salon, wellness, etc. People get very caught up between the needs and the wants, and a lot of times it's just not explained clearly to them, right, about what this process is that gets them to either the need or the want, especially as it relates to skincare as well.
Yeah, I think too many times we hide behind information rather than get in front of information. So rather than educating, we become an information system, not an education system. And just let me explain a little bit there, Allan. If you really look at connectivity and really, and how do you connect and not just communicate, 7% relies on the message and 93% relies on the messenger. So that is absolutely crucial. And if you break down the 93%, 55% is actually the body language and 38% is the tone on how we speak. But then if we're only focusing on the info, we're only got a 7% chance of making a proper connection.
Okay, Mark, and I know we've got like 4 sales in a sale coming up, and I'm really excited for that in the next few parts. But the last question I wanted to ask you related to this is, can we turn these people in the spa into salespeople? Is it just a matter of educating them the right way? Because the old mantra used to be hire salespeople, but that's when you tell me 93% are about listening, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to go out and hire aggressive salespeople.
No, it's quite the opposite. It's people who are going to listen, people who are going to lean in and really get close. If you really care for your guest and you really care for your client, you want to add value. So I think the selling is more about adding value. Selling is a beautiful thing, particularly with skincare and cosmetics. Selling is actually leading. Selling is serving. And it's about being you. Don't try to be someone else. Everyone else is taken. I think it's also focused on solving a problem and look at it as a partnership. I think they're the critical factors. And I think in closing with that, Allan, if you're not influencing your client, what are you really doing? And selling is not about a financial transaction, and it's not what you do to someone, it's more what you do with someone.
Ah, that is well said. All right. What is selling? We're off to a good start. I'm excited for the rest of it.
I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation. Thank you very much, Allan.
Thank you. Thank you too.